Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video. And today we're going to be talking about this news, rumors right now about the future of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and the potential reboot of the X-Men. So one of the news that are coming out now is that Hugh Jackman's Wolverine will still be around, but he will not be in the new X-Men that will be in the MCU. The Wolverine character in general will not be there. Not just Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. And I don't really like this. So I kind of sort of have mixed feeling because I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this really hard after I was like, oh, there's no way this should be right. Because, you know, Wolverine is an X-Men, of course. But, so, obviously Hugh Jackman was the character that really everyone thinks of when we think of the Fox X-Men. He was the breakout star, obviously, and, you know, he became synonymous as the character of Wolverine, despite not wearing the dang suit until now. But Hugh Jackman's importance to, obviously, the X-Men as Wolverine weighs no bounds, obviously. He was the guy, you know, he was the person when you think of the X-Men. Now, again, that doesn't mean that, you know, Wolverine was always, you know, around for every continuity of the X-Men, but within the movies, this is kind of how it's always been. And I just don't know how I feel about this. Now, I've heard rumors that Hugh Jackman's Wolverine is probably still going to be around even after Secret Wars as Wolverine, but that also means that, like, he's going to be in whatever the new universe is after Secret Wars. So he's going to be the Wolverine, but yet, for the new X-Men, he's not going to be there. What does that mean? Is he going to be the event? I mean, to be fair, obviously Wolverine's character is big enough. Hugh Jackman's Wolverine is obviously big enough to be an Avenger because, obviously, you know, he's been the character for so many dang years. You know, longest cinematic actor in the history of superhero cinema to actively be the character. I mean, you know, he kind of deserves that. And also, let's not forget, you know, Hugh Jackman and the Deadpool Wolverine movie just made over $1 billion. And I said this in one of my most recent videos about the Henry Cavill cameo thing or whatever. Hugh Jackman is going to be the character until he actually decides to retire, whenever that is. For reals. Not like, you know, he's going to come back then or whatever, doing the Brett Favre thing. I mean, like, for real. Like, when he actually hangs it up for real. And he doesn't come back, definitively. That's when you'll see a new Wolverine. So he will be Wolverine. I don't think there will be another variant Wolverine. I do think X-23 will be around, and maybe X-23 will be the one that's in the X-Men. You know, because I was also thinking about that too. Is like maybe they want to put X-23 in the Fox version of X-23 from Logan, who appeared in Deadpool Wolverine. Maybe they want to put her in the new X-Men. I don't know, but Hugh Jackman's Wolverine definitely needs to be the Wolverine in the MCU. Whether it's X-Men or Avengers, but I still think, I mean, I do want to see the story. There's so many stories they can do with Wolverine, though. So that's another thing, too. There's so many different stories they can do with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine because he's established. You know, he's established. So there are different stories they can do with him not necessarily being in the X-Men. But at the same time, I just don't know. I just don't know, man. Like, I just think it's going to be difficult. I mean, there are a lot of cool characters in the X-Men outside of Wolverine, obviously. I mean, Rogue, I don't think got a fair shot. Um, I thought they were gonna do a Rogue movie at some point when Disney started doing the Captain Marvel movie, but Fox didn't do that. I had talked about that a while back. So there are some opportunities for some characters, especially since obviously now since X-Men is in Disney now, they could do the whole thing with Rogue getting the super strength or whatever because she couldn't get it because Miss Marvel was a Disney character, so they couldn't, or Marvel character, so they couldn't use it. I never understood why Fox never tried to purchase Miss Marvel so they could do a Rogue movie, because I had heard back in the day they had tried to do a Rogue movie. Obviously, they, once Hugh Jackman became the guy, they kind of just steered away from really any of the other characters getting solo movies, at least. But I had heard that they were in development for a Rogue movie even back in the day, but they didn't know how to do it because they didn't own the rights to Miss Marvel, and that's like, that's how Rogue kind of gets her super strength. She gets her super strength by, sucking a lot of the powers away from, and the strength from Miss Marvel when she touches her. Obviously, she gets all the thoughts, feelings, the personality, and all the her powers and whatnot. And I always wondered, well, why couldn't they just purchase those? I mean, back in 2000, they could have done that. I mean, 2000, like when Marvel was not owned by Disney and they were like almost bankrupt, they could have gotten Miss Marvel's rights if they had really wanted to. I mean, they purchased a bunch of different characters outside of X-Men. I don't understand why they didn't try to do that at the time. But there's a lot of different opportunities, a lot of different characters that could shine. Like I said, Rogue, because you can really tell a definitive story. Even though I think that even without Miss Marvel, they could have since some of the stuff they did in the original X-Men movies weren't like completely accurate, obviously, to what the comics were doing. So they could have had her absorb Storm's powers if they really wanted to get her to super strength so she could have her own movie. But that was Fox. Fox was Fox, obviously. Now again, I'm not gonna totally rain on Fox Parade because I don't think the original suits were bad. Like the original, the black suits or whatever. A lot of people crap on the black suits. Because the people that crap on the black suits were either A, not alive back then when the movie came out and they don't understand why people like those suits back then, or B, they just don't understand the whole idea of why they did it and what the atmosphere was, and they just are comic book accurate extremists at that point, that want everything accurate in movies, which is impossible to do. Even the MCU movies aren't going to get everything accurate. Yeah, that's another thing. People seem to forget that, the reason why they did the black leather and stuff like that in the original X-Men trilogy was because the black leather was like in at that time. Like that was like the ideal thing you wanted to do for movies, with the heroes and stuff like that. Black was kind of like in, for movies and stuff like that. That's why they did the black leather. And considering that we had just gotten Batman and Robin not too long ago before that movie came out, that was another reason. So people forget about that. And also another thing, if they had done the comic book accurate Wolverine in 2000, it wouldn't have looked as good as it did with in the Deadpool movie. They would not have had the mask with the white eyes and stuff like that in 2000. There's no way, because they didn't have the technology back then. They still don't do it for Batman in cinema. Like, and even then, Batman would have been the closest person that had similar eye tone thing like that for the masks, and they didn't do that for Batman, and they still to this day haven't done it for Batman. So there's no way they would have done it for Wolverine in 2000 had they done the mask in 2000. So the way I look at it, like I said, I look at it this way. I think Fox should have done it when they started dining, like the X-Men started dining yellow uniforms. Like after the original trilogy had ended, that's when Hugh should have wore the comic book accurate suit. Like that's when they should have done it, because at that point the brand was established. Like X-Men was making money for Fox. That's when they should have started to go into those more roots of trying to be more comic book accurate for the suits. But of course Fox didn't do that because Fox was Fox. And we can't change that, of course. But people that didn't live through the black suits, the black leather, don't get it, because they weren't alive for that time period. So they don't understand why that was so big at that time to do that. But, I mean, it just made it all better for now, because now we're going to get the suits going forward. I mean, that was such a great moment. It was such a great, iconic moment. And I can't wait to see more. I would love for them to do a Hulk movie. I mean, we've seen that 2-second cameo of the Hulk and Wolverine. I'd love to see them do that. I don't know if they can do that as a movie, but that would be kind of cool if they could do that as a movie. They would have to have it mainly focused on Wolverine, obviously, because I don't know what the whole Universal status is with Disney at this point. But still, Mark Ruffalo, he's a good actor, but Hulk can't carry a full-length film. It would have to be Wolverine. Like Hugh Jackman would be the guy. You would have to promote the whole thing around. If they did that, and I think Hugh Jackman wants to do that too. Like he had said a long time ago that he wanted to do a Hulk versus Wolverine movie. So that would be another thing I guess they could do if he's not going to be in the X-Men. Is they could do that, because that would be kind of like the startup. If they're starting up the end. But then again, that's another thing, because Hugh isn't obviously getting younger. So I don't know. I don't know, because Hugh, from what we heard, that Hugh wants to stick around now, even after Secret Wars. And also, don't be surprised if he doesn't appear in the Avengers movie before Secret Wars. I think he's gonna appear with Robert Downey Jr. in that Doctor Doom movie, Avengers Doctor Doom. I think he's gonna be in that movie too. I would not be surprised if he is in that movie, because you literally can pit Hugh Jackman's Wolverine up against the guy who, you have Hugh Jackman, right? The guy who was, Marvel's first big star, big major star for, the superheroes in acting, kind of really started all of this in a way, because that was the big star. Obviously, there was Blade before. You had Tobey Maguire. But Hugh Jackman was the guy all the way around. There was never recasts, there was never reboots with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. He was always the Wolverine, for cinematic. So that being said, you have that guy, the first face of Marvel, essentially, for cinema, right? Versus the guy who was the face of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in Robert Downey Jr. Obviously, he's not going to be Iron Man. He's going to be Doctor Doom, or a variant of Tony Stark as Doctor Doom. And you have them fight. I think that would be a really good one. I think that would be a really good one to do. If you're going to do something like that, that would be another good one they could do. There's a lot of things they can do with Hugh Jackman. Obviously, I guess the idea is with X-Men is, well, he's done that with Fox already. So it's like, what can he do better with the MCU for X-Men? I think there are a ton of stories they can tell still with this new X-Men, especially since it's going to be more comic book accurate, obviously, with, you know, some of the accurate suits and stuff like that. I do think there's more things that they could tell with that if they wanted to. But I think it's going to be more of those things where it's like they want to focus on these other characters like Rogue and Storm, maybe. Obviously, Cyclops and his relationship. There are definitely things that they could tell. Different stories that they could tell, but I still think you could do something with and even if you wanted to, like, at the very least, if Hugh Jackman's Wolverine's not going to be in the new X-Men, you have to put X-23 in then. You have to put X-23 in. Especially, like, say, if Hugh Jackman's Wolverine is going to be, like, an Avenger in the new, whatever the new rebooted MCU is going to be. Like, you have to put somebody in there, like, for Wolverine. Like, put you know, the Fox X-23 in then, you know, in there, and have Hugh Jackman's Wolverine be an Avenger, you know, or be one of the new Avengers, you know, like, again, if he's sticking around after Secret Wars, which from what I've heard he is, you know, barring anything, you know, unfortunate that happens, he's supposed to be around. I don't know for how long he's going to be around for, because Hugh Jackman isn't getting any younger, but from what I've heard, he's going to be around for a while. I don't know what a while is, because Hugh Jackman obviously said he was going to retire after Logan, and that didn't happen. So, I don't know. This is I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this. I don't know where to think on this one, on where they do it, because there's a lot of different things they can do with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. Obviously, there's multiple different things. He just made $1 billion with the Deadpool movie. So the sky's the limit. Obviously, Disney wants to do more things with Hugh Jackman because, I mean, money talks. But I just don't know, man. I'm really conflicted on this one. Let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate, if you like this video, videos, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell for the latest contents. Thank you. And that's about it. I am the SS Ultimate Goku. I'm out here. Peace. Also, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Twitch, Instagram, Discord link in the description. I also do have a YouTube tier membership list, so go check all those out. And now I'm out. Peace.